Not today, fellers. Not today. But what I do want to do today is this. I guess this video somebody sent me in the Discord from Glitch Poachers. It's called N3on, when kids influence kids, which is really the entire internet. Honestly, when it comes to the internet, here's what I think. Okay, that it's almost entirely a childish perspective, even when an adult is giving out the perspective. You have an atmosphere of completely anonymous people who you don't know who they are or anything, that are constantly screaming and yelling. It doesn't matter if it's young boys or young girls or left-leaning people or right-leaning people. Complete anonymity, complaining and crying about everything and screaming into the atmosphere, being annoying. And there are adults too. And then they're setting the tone for everything. That's why we live in a society where, like, oh, everything's grooming now. Oh. It's a bunch of kids saying, I feel a way, even if that way that they feel isn't backed up by actual definitions of words. And then adults are like, yeah, sure, because they're afraid of being canceled or they just want a virtue signal. So, whatever. Anyway, I'm curious about this video. Let's get this going.
Which has been passed.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel really different after I said that N-word. Like, I feel
What? Okay. Is this video speeded up? What's going on?
really good right now, bro. Like, really, really good.
Wow, that's relatable? I don't know. That's insane. What?
A new generation of Americans.
I'm a clout fiend. I love the numbers.
Those who foolishly sought
Probably like addicted to stuff.
power
Man, I can fake my death, bro.
by riding the back of the tiger
Good times.
ended up inside.
I actually did it twice. No one knows about this because I deleted it.
Before the dark powers of destruction
I am a disgrace to my community. I'm a disgrace to my race. I'm a disgrace to my religion. I'm a disgrace.
unleashed
What is happening here?
by science
YouTubers, we have everything every day.
in
This guy's pretty smart, I feel like. I don't know who he is, but I feel like he needs more room in his head. Somebody should expand it with a hole, you know?
go all humanity
Chat runs his life too, but he likes, but they're their best friends.
I love chat.
in planned or accidental self-destruction.
I feel like it's almost a mental disorder, like to be so obsessed with internet clout and fame in the chat that, like, I feel like we're going to be adding to the DSM-5, unironically.
I genuinely believe the world is ending soon.
We dare not tempt them with weakness.
He probably does. We live in this hyper media scenario. I don't know. There's so much information being spread around that we live in a time where we think everything is like worse than it ever has been, but it really isn't. We're just seeing everything now. This is constant information. And, you know, people tend to get information that they not even that they want to see, but they get information that they're drawn to. So if you're somebody who's a little paranoid and you start like, and you come across some video on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and it's a video about how like the world's going to end, you're going to just start going into a rabbit hole of that and your entire mind's going to get warped. It's the same thing when it comes to what is it called? The true crime conspiracy rabbit holes and loopholes. I'm telling you, if you are somebody who engages in that stuff and you stop for a week, you're going to feel better mentally. I'm telling you.
How many bodies do you have?
How many bodies you got?
How many bodies do you have?
Ask
Bodies you
not
got.
what your country can do for you. Ask
Damn.
what you can do for your country.
He's got the top. That's what I'm saying. TOBS, terminally online behavior syndrome, is a very real thing. Even I listen, when I get like a lot of likes or views on a video, I feel good too. I just try to also do a little goose for ba, because I've been doing content for like maybe 2 or 3 years. And so I understand you're going to have highs and lows. You're going to have a high point, low. And like I had a really high last 2 weeks with like a lot of stuff going on, which was great timing because I went on vacation with my wife. So it was extra money. And now we're back into like the low period, but that's an okay period. I just have to stay consistent and like relax a little bit, and just reframe my expectations. So it feels weird being in a new chair.
I should start with an apology for exposing you, the viewer, to clips of N3on.
True.
Watching N3on is the content equivalent of drinking.
Is this? I think this is Tomorrowland at Disney World. No, this is Disney World. This is Disney World. Now, you know, I know this because over here there's a Buzz Lightyear ride. Okay, just saying. I think that's where this is. I also don't think you're allowed to do content when you're in Disney, but I could be wrong about it. Well, I guess you can. I mean, technically people do stuff like that, but I don't know. You can't live stream, I don't think.
Paint thinner. I have a pretty high
See? I was 100% right. It's the lightning lane for the Buzz Lightyear ride. I think that might be pathetic. I think I might be pathetic. That's pathetic.
Tolerance for garbage influencer nonsense. It's
Oh my
not
God.
uncommon for me to get comments pointing that out on this channel. Though, if I had to choose, I'd rather watch an hour of Pokimane than 10 straight minutes of N3on.
That's tough. That's all. This picture's also tough. You know, here's the thing about this, you know, beautiful trans woman here. Okay. Okay, listen, here's my thing. I do feel bad when they get bullied by people on the internet, but at the same time, it seems like that's their business strategy, is to associate themselves with N3on and Aiden Ross. And it's like, at that point, you're kind of like, what are you doing? You're kind of asking for it. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad at first, but now it's like, you know, she's just, oh, let me talk to this person, this person. It's almost like a clout grab, you know? I mean, hey, you know what? If God bless, you know, if you're willing to do it, make that money, girl, you know.
Neurotoxicity is off the charts, and I've probably gotten at least
hell
5
is this?
different forms of cancer while watching him.
God,
Seriously,
that's
I have
terrible.
never been this mentally exhausted this quickly from merely watching videos. Alright, I had to get that rant out of the way. On with
Well,
the
thank you for breaking it down to 10 minutes.
video. I'll be focusing a bit less on his overall career and more on what his popularity means to the modern media landscape.
Okay.
If you want to watch something more focused on N3on himself, I recommend Internet Anarchist
Maybe. I mean, somebody sent me this video, so I'm gonna start with this.
video on him. I'll leave that link in the description. So who is N3on? He started streaming video games at the age of 11.
Well, there it is. He hasn't aged beyond 11. This is the problem, especially when people get popular. Is that you start getting popular, boom, you're like mentally stuck there. And I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with younger people who get famous. You know, your audience was gravitated towards you and your content, but they were also young. And then you get older and they get older and they're exposed to the real world and they mature faster than you. And then you don't mature and you don't feel safe changing your content because it is very difficult to change drastically. And you're inevitably going to lose viewers and views. But, you know, it's hard to cope with that, because you don't understand why. And then it's just this whole issue of like aging up. That's why I'm luckier, because my content transition hasn't been like massive. I'm an older guy. I've mostly matured. I'm always learning and changing, but I haven't drastically, and I probably will never drastically change my content. You know, so it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for people like this. I feel bad for people who get famous young. I mean, they have a lot of money, so good for them, but they also seem to be like addicted. So,
According to the YouTube wiki, he's now 19. He first
Wow.
faked his death at the age of 14, which he has done at least twice in his
I
career.
guess at 15 he did that.
Man, I fucking faked my death, bro.
Yeah.
I think that somebody else did
Good
that too.
times. Really, really
Was
good
that the
times.
first thing you did that took you, that kind of took
I
it
actually
up?
did it twice. No one knows about this because I deleted it. I said I got in a car crash and died.
He's lied about dying to try to
Cool.
avoid getting kicked out of Disneyland.
See, I told you. He got kicked out, dude. Because you're not allowed to live stream, dude.
I just had a few more days to live, but I get how it is.
He faked having a
Hold on, let me see something.
out of Disneyland.
I just had a few more days to live, but I get how it is.
Am I there? I'm looking to see if I'm there. I'm not there. But
He faked having a cousin, faked having a brother who
why did fake have a cousin?
both helped him fake his death.
But who said you died? Because if you were dead,
Me. I said I
You
died.
can't say you died.
And
Oh,
then
he faked being the cousin. Okay.
Fake cousin on the internet during Fortnite. So I had a fake cousin, I had a fake brother, and then I told him to tell everyone that I died.
Got it.
Okay.
It was so good, dude.
Lied about some guy who goes by Ronnie 2K being his father.
You know who Ronnie 2K is from 2K?
Yeah.
I told everyone he was my dad.
Is inspired by
Why?
FouseyTube.
What made you start doing the IRL walking, the stuff we're doing now?
The IRL
Yep.
Fousey.
Bro. Shout
That's a great person to look up to. Excellent stuff.
out to a fucking legend, man.
G7, bro.
The list goes on. Admittedly, it is kind of funny to just list off some of the stupid things he's done, but it turns
Where are his parents? Well, I guess if he had good parents, he wouldn't be doing content on YouTube like this.
funny to sad when you take into account his disconnect from reality and the fact that he's a kid with an audience of kids.
True.
I'll get into that more later. He understandably has a reputation for being a toxic, spastic menace, which is unfortunately a big part of his draw as an entertainer. I'm using the term entertainer.
I mean, I guess he is entertaining. I guess people watch him. He's entertaining for some people. but
Mostly because
did he get like hit once or something, like somewhat recently? Is that real? Or
watching his content feels more like having an aneurysm than being entertained. Since N3on is such a compulsive liar, it's hard to know when he's being sincere.
Yeah, that was the dumbest like lie I've ever made in my life. That didn't make
Yeah,
sense.
that's-
Okay,
what's
sorry.
that?
This interview with Bradley Martin is
N3on walks out on his first ever podcast. What?
probably
I mean, was this just like staged?
the closest to honesty we can expect to find. Although everything N3on
You were about to mention fatherless behavior, but you thought it would be too mean. I don't know. It kind of feels like it.
says needs to be taken with a grain of salt.
I wonder at what point do you start to like slow down?
Never,
Never.
never. I could see myself acting the same way when I'm 30. I swear to God, I'm never.
That's pathetic. That's pathetic. That's not good. Yeah, I don't expect to ever change. Why? That's pathetic. That you want to grow old. Well, you don't want to grow old, but you want to grow up. You want to maintain, you want to have a proportionate level of intelligence and maturity to your age. That's my opinion, I guess.
Never changing, bro. I've been like this since I was a little kid. I am never changing, ever. I swear. No money, no sponsors, nothing. I will never change. I'm not.
What? No sponsor? What? I feel like he would get sponsors. Isn't this guy's like, he's just not unsponsorable, right? He just has no, like, he's just not sponsorable. I don't think that so is that part of his thing? Like, I'll never take a sponsor. I just feel like nobody would sponsor him because he's like a brand risk. That's the word I'm looking for. But okay.
I'm not gonna mature, dude. This is me.
I'm not sure if he's trying to make it sound like a good thing that money wouldn't change this, but it's not. I really hope he does manage to mature by the time he turns 30, but I wouldn't be surprised
I don't care if he does or doesn't.
if he doesn't. He
That's just something to make fun of, I guess.
already claims that in the several years he has been streaming, his perspective hasn't changed at all.
Because wouldn't you say that your perspective has changed from when you started doing social media to where you are now?
No,
No, not at all.
no.
So no maturing, no discipline, no development.
I wonder-
This isn't staying true to
I
your
wonder if that's actually really what he thinks, or if he's just saying that so that he can appear as a cool guy to his fans. Like, wow, he's never gonna sell out. Oh my god, this guy's amazing.
self, especially at this age. It's not developing a sense of self. He's nowhere close to being connected with reality,
I don't think he's a human, unfortunately.
and he admits it.
I've been losing my mind because you live behind a camera so long and you amplify everything to where it doesn't even feel real. I didn't feel like alive in Vegas. Like I didn't feel like a real person.
Do you ever feel disconnected from yourself while you're making content?
Yeah. I don't remember all these
sad.
crazy streams I've had recently. I don't remember shit. I don't remember anything even happening. The only way
What is he on drugs? What is wrong with this guy?
I can remember it is if I watch it back.
I feel like a simpleton explaining this, but this isn't good. This isn't healthy. How can I
No, it's not. I did feel a little disconnected the other day. The first day I got back from Disney and I streamed, I was like high. Not high. I don't do drugs or anything, but I was so tired. I got back Tuesday night, technically Wednesday morning at like 1 a.m. I stayed up till 4 on Wednesday. Then I slept all day. I think I woke up for like 4 hours, and then I just slept from Wednesday 4 a.m. basically to Thursday 12. I don't know why I was so tired. Maybe because I took a couple of I was taking a lot of Dramamine because I get very motion sickness, so maybe it just caught up with me. The vacation, I guess I didn't sleep a full 8 hours every day. I was tired because we were walking like, I think they say the average walk is like 7 miles a day when you're at Disney. So I guess I was just burnt out. And then I came on stream and I was like a little like phased out. It was bizarre. I don't know.
entertain my 12-year-old audience today? Well, let's turn off my brain, disconnect from any semblance
Based.
of reality, and operate off of pure impulse.
We got swatted, and I was telling the girl, I was like, to make up for the swatting, maybe you shake some ass, and there was like ARs over there, like
As
sitting
if
in the back.
Okay.
As if like they would leave because she was shaking
I think that it was more of just to capitalize on the situation, but that's something else.
ass.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's like completely disconnected.
At one point, he
That's a little funny.
wanted to be a doctor because he wanted to help other people with Crohn's disease, but it's
Well, he looks like the kind of guy who'd be a doctor. He looks like the kind of guy whose parents would tell him to be a doctor. You know what I'm saying?
seems like anything that resembles
Which is not a bad
productive
thing.
life is out of reach for him, at least for now. I would imagine it's hard to make any realistic long-term goals when you're in this position, when being as short-sighted as possible is the most rewarding, when sabotaging yourself becomes a career.
Is this one of those bang buses or whatever?
As you don't need, obviously, you want to be a doctor, you have to go to college because like they
Yeah.
force you to have certain requirements to be able to.
I can
pursue
never
that.
work a 9 to 5 job, especially with my attention span. I can't do it.
Well, you could do it, but the internet's rotted your brain.
Looks like this attitude comes from a somewhat nihilistic perspective. N3on says the day of judgment is coming and that the world is going to end soon. He also says since life is short, we should enjoy.
Again, that's probably not happening. We're safer today than we were like yesterday. Every year over year, we get safer and safer. It's just social media being blasted into our brains, making us think that we're like in danger.
Enjoy it while we can.
I could literally get shot or get a heart attack and die right now, bro. You gotta just stop taking life so serious, bro.
I guess that's
It's
true.
life. You gotta enjoy it.
That on its own isn't
I mean, I agree with that, but also spoken like somebody with no responsibilities. You know, like you don't enjoy all of life.
too unreasonable, but his interpretation of enjoying life while you can is to waste it on hedonistic pursuits. Realizing that life is short shouldn't be used as an excuse to throw it away.
Is this Fauci tube? Foozy tube?
The little time we have should be used making the absolute most of our lives, to do as much as we can to better ourselves, to provide for the world.
What the hell's
N3on
going on
thinks
here?
the world is
What was that a picture of? I don't
going to end soon.
This is my theory, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I genuinely think the day of judgment's coming soon. Like, I'm a good Muslim. Like,
I think that a good Muslim doesn't engage in cloud chasing. I mean, I don't know. The book's a little old, but I feel like it's probably not about girls shaking their asses when you get swatted. So you're probably not a very good Muslim. You're probably not very faithful to your religion. I'm just saying, okay?
genuinely believe the world.
I believe that's haram. Is it haram? I'm sounding like my mother when she's trying to speak Spanish. Sounds like harem to me, okay?
is ending soon.
But when Bradley tries to engage in this conversation, N3on's attention span is so fried that he's not even able to participate in the conversation about the world ending, the conversation that he started.
You're yapping. What are you saying, bro? Can we talk about something else? That's
Okay. I wonder if he really can engage with it or if that's just his character.
boring, bro.
That's fine. Okay.
Let me ask you
What's
something.
going on,
Go
brother?
ahead.
How many bodies you got?
So if there's a reason why the
Why is he so obsessed with how many bodies people have, especially men? I feel like it's kind of gay, you know?
world's going to end, it's
The guys asking other guys how many girls they've had sex with. Like, what do you want to be next?
because people like N3on are the ones influencing
How many girls have you had sex with? How many guys?
the youth. When older media used kids in children's programming, it's not like the kids were running the show. Now the most obnoxious, toxic behavior of children is part of the draw of some children's content.
1000%.
N3on is the epitome of that. This is why I'm being
I wonder if his audience watches him because they find him like funny and rather he probably do find him funny. I wonder if it's because though that they like to make fun of him almost like he's like a lol cow. You know?
harsh. Kids don't belong on the internet. It's bad for the kids and it's bad for the internet. A part of the
True,
reason why
very based.
censorship keeps getting worse online
Very
is
based.
because of children, but no amount of
Well, maybe. I mean, let's be honest. Who are the people that are like, oh my god, Facebook told me that Ratatouille is real or something? Like it's like Facebook misinformation is being told by your mom. It was being told to like your mom and dad on Facebook. You know, or that's who's getting hit with a lot of misinformation because they're too silly. They're too silly. They can't really engage.
safeguarding, no amount of censorship, no amount of policing is ever
I hate to say it, but I feel like Ethan is probably pretty bad for the public discourse and atmosphere. He's probably one of the most influential people, especially in like the drama-ish spaces, and he doesn't really stand firm of like, hey, I'm an adult, here's an adult perspective. Mostly it's just like, hey, let me just kind of appeal to whatever's going on. I mean, not to be an asshole. That's why we're still having conversations about James Charles. It's like, why are we still talking? Like, what he did was wrong. He's not a predator. Like, what was he? An 18-year-old talked to a 14-year-old. He didn't age verify.
Time catching a stream.
Okay.
Super chatted $2. Is the new chair just as racist as the last one?
My chair can't be racist. It's black. Stop. And then, what was I saying? Oh yeah. And then, like, okay, when he was 21, he talked to like a 16 or two 16-year-olds that he didn't age verify. Really wrong behavior, but it's not predatory, and he keeps playing into it. And what was the most recent one? Some kid came forward who's like 20 now, and he's like, when I was 16, James Charles tried to hit on me, and he said he was 22, but the age-wise, he would have been 21. And then he shows a message of James Charles just saying age check, and that's it. That's all he shows. That's all the proof. And Ethan's like, oh my God, this is proof he's a predator. It's like, is it? He age checked. Now, you could go into a conversation about how, like, okay, if he's age checking there, then it's safe to say that he was age checking other people. But you can't, like, why not show the message where he's like, oh, he still, like, as the kid said, the guy, he's an adult now. He goes, my response was, I'm a very mature 16. Show us that response. But he doesn't. He just shows us a screenshot of the age check, and that's all you got. And it's like, you know, this is the problem: is you have adults on the internet who are playing into the kids on the internet, and they're allowing like that internet mentality of that's run by children, anonymous people, to be like, yes, this is right, but they don't really know. They're young and they're dumb. And even if they do know something is wrong, because what James Charles did was wrong, they don't understand the proportionality of it. And like, how wrong is this? This behavior is bad. Is it predatory? Probably not. Predatory? It would be predatory if he was exclusively looking for 16-year-olds. But James Charles is a loser who, that's what it comes down to. He's another terminally online loser. And every time he tries to talk to somebody, like, they're not interested because he's weird. Sorry. And so he's like, okay, you know what? 16's close enough, because unfortunately around the world and even in the United States, a lot of the age consents are 16. It gets into so many different issues. It's just wrong. But this is how you're supposed to engage critically when you're like an adult on the internet. We don't really do that on the H3 thing. I'm just saying. It's kind of how that is. And it's like ironic. I don't know. You know, and that's why your chat calls you racist and horrible and anti-Muslim, because you've set the stage for a very shallow audience that just appeals to whatever the public narrative is. So I'm not saying what James Charles is right. It's obviously wrong. But it's a behavior that you can move on from. And there's like an entire actual conversation to have about it, because I think it's more common for boys to do that than it should be. You know, but if he's exclusively looking for 16-year-olds, then like, why is he hitting on 18-year-olds as well? You know what I mean? It's there's a lot there. There's a lot to the conversation, but I feel like it's all inside of one big thing. James Charles is decent looking, but he isn't attractive. I think it's more because James Charles is rich and he's very immature for his age, and so he has problems finding people. And he also has like a weird attraction to very straight looking men. I think that's another thing too. He likes straight men, and he's gone on a couple of dates, I think, with straight men that are questioning, and people call him a predator for that, which is ridiculous, because it's like homophobic. You know, if you're a straight man questioning your sexuality and you decide to go on a date, that's fine. You know, to say like, oh, somebody's like, it's weird. They're consensually doing it. I think it's very difficult when you're rich in general to date, because you know you don't know if somebody likes you for you or for your money. You know, and that's another conversation about that. You know, it's easy. That's why Ethan's probably in a very healthy relationship with his wife, because they met when they weren't popular or rich, and they grew together. So they were able to grow together, and you know, they were able to build together, and that's a very fortunate, lucky, and an incredible thing. So, you know, there's obviously a lot there.
We're going to make social media a healthy place for kids. It will always encourage the worst of compulsive attention-seeking behavior. Kids will already engage in bad behavior for popularity and attention at times.
Yeah, and I heard if they watch Cocomelon, their behavior's worse. So ban Cocomelon.
Pretty normal part of growing up, and there are usually consequences. On the internet, however, the amount of potential attention is far higher, so toxicity is more rewarded, often with little to no direct consequence. Navigating the social hierarchy at school is a difficult task. Giving a child's popularity and status numeric values through social media transforms this already complicated situation. It paradoxically makes status both more tangible and disconnected. In my previous video, Why Everyone Hates Streamers, I touched on a research report regarding
everybody loves me. This isn't too bad. This is actually kind of comfortable.
Regarding streaming and children. While it's important to look at how watching streams can impact the youth, the part I left out is how common it is for kids to create vlogs and live streams. Quote, parents admit feeling
Yeah, they do that, but I feel like, isn't that just Snapchat?
A sense of guilt in not being fully aware of what their children are doing online. Parents who are less familiar with vlogs and live streams are especially nervous about this, as it is relatively new territory for them.
It is, and it's not something that they learned when they were growing up. That's why, like, my mom doesn't understand what I do for a living. She calls everything I do a podcast, and that's fine. But we've grown so rapidly as a society, so much new technologies come out that the former generation isn't super familiar with it. You know, my mother and my mother-in-law, the text size on their screen for their text messages are massive. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. I mean, that's not really relevant, but it's just weird. What are you doing? It's just such a different, so they don't understand what's going on. Hopefully, I'm up to speed with what my kids are doing on the internet, because I do social media for work, but it can be very, you know, difficult. Kids are always trying to get away with shit, and they're always trying to be more mature than they're supposed to be. It's a real problem. And then we treat kids as less mature than they actually are. It's actually, we need to find the right middle ground. Like, kids are always trying to grow up. I remember being young, and I was like, I really want to be an adult. I want to be an adult. I want to be an adult. And then people treat you as more of a kid. They don't really, there's certain things that you need to trust your kids with because you're teaching your kid to be an adult, like having a little bit of privacy in their bed, in their room in general, or learning certain things in school. And sometimes I feel like we just don't do that. We almost infantilize kids too young, right? We need to be more age appropriate. And then the kids are trying too hard to look to the future. So,
and not one they want their children to engage in. A vast majority of parents don't want their children vlogging or live streaming. But nearly a quarter of children create vlogs, and that number rises in vlogging or live streaming.
I wonder what they mean by vlogs. Do they mean like what? Like is TikTok considered a vlog? More boys than girls do this, really.
Nearly a quarter of children create vlogs,
wow. And
that number rises to 35% in the 11 to 13 age range. Not to
I hate when my sister just hands my nephew the phone to calm him down. Yeah, you gotta teach your kids. It drives me nuts. It always drives me nuts when I go out and I see iPad kids sitting at the table where like they have to be engaged in their phone when they're at dinner, and it's like, you know, I get your kids probably an obnoxious, and then you give it to them so that they'll calm down. But it still bothers the hell out of me. And it doesn't really matter, but it's like you're just making your kid addicted to social media. You need to get off the phone or get off the phone or the tablet and exist in the world. And even myself, I have a problem sometimes being on my phone too much. And where my wife is like, hey, get off the phone, like, let's talk. It's a real problem for everybody. But, you know, for me, I'm older. I could deal with it better. For a kid, you need to tell your kid, like, hey, not in public. And if they have a meltdown, it's like, take them home or something. But, you know, you got to get that behavior out of them because they're going to hit a certain age. And they're going to be unbearable to be around. But at the same time, they need to have interactions with phones, iPhones, and smartphones and tablets because that's the way of the future. And jobs are going to gravitate towards that more and more and more. Even cashier jobs, if they exist with technology automating everything away. Your kid needs to be able to press buttons. I know it sounds silly, but like cashiers, a lot of them are automated or not automated. A lot of them they are, but a lot of them are screens now. And knowing how to, you know, play with the interface is actually very helpful. So there's just so many different things going on with that.
Mentioned this report was from 2018, before the pandemic, so the amount of kids creating content has probably only gotten higher. The amount of kids who live stream opposed to making vlogs is a bit less, but still at 30% for the 11 to...
How is it? How were 22%? How are they, how do they regularly... How do they make live stream content? What the hell? What do they do? Why? Where do they post it? What?
13 age range.
Nobody's watching anyway. Those kids suck.
There's still a lot that we don't know about the impacts of social media, but the more information we get, the worse it looks. N3on is an extreme example, but I don't think there are any parents out there who want their kids to wind up like this. A popular quote from Ben Shapiro is, facts don't care about your feelings. Okay. What is overlooked, however, is that the opposite is true. Feelings don't care about facts, and without self-control, feelings govern our actions and behavior more than facts do. In the working world, logic and productivity often take priority.
Is this Zelda music, dude?
We are capable of reasoning and problem solving, but it doesn't come as easily as leisure and impulsivity. It requires discipline and practice.
I thought that was Charlie Kirk for a second, but it's not. It's Magnus Carlsen.
To become more productive. What feels good in the moment is sacrificed for what is right. With
Who's this girl? I'm just curious. Is she trans? I'm just curious. Whatever.
Is right. With influencers like N3on, we see children getting rewarded for avoiding discipline, for stagnating and short-circuiting their own development for the sake of immediate attention.
Yeah, and breaking things is rewarded as well. I would have been so funny if the internet was around when I was 20. I would break shit all the time. I would have gamer nerd rage, but then I would have ended up like Boogie, so...
You're never going to be able to sit someone like N3on down and explain to them how and why what they're doing is wrong and have it be a productive conversation. When it comes to direct and logical communication, they're basically as useful as an offline computer. You'll never get through to them. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Sentiments like these are getting harder and harder to come by, and it's a kind of message we need to hear now more than ever. Happiness and fulfillment come from being able to provide through skill, discipline, and effort. Social media offers a vapid and artificial replacement for self-esteem and communication. It will never be a proper answer to the human condition. Alright, that's gonna have to do it for this one. Shout out to the best subscriber squad in all of YouTube.
That was a good video.
I hope everyone has a
It's pretty good. A little bit of a philosophical conversation at the end there, but incredible stuff.
Wonderful day.
What's the rest of this? Is this guy from Law and Order? What the hell?
I can't believe
Oh, no, he's not.
this story you're telling me. It's macabre.
I think that was part of porn.
The tall
Could be wrong. All right. Interesting video.